The verse of the week can be found in Deuteronomy chapter 9 and verse 7. Remember and forget not how thou provokest the Lord thy God to wrath in the wilderness. From the day that thou didst depart out of the land of Egypt, until ye came unto this place, ye have been rebellious against the Lord. The verse of the week has portrayed God as such a loving God, such a forgiving God. Though the Israelites were complaining when they came out from Egypt, when they were in the desert, even at the borders of the promised land, each and every time, the 40 years of complaint, still God forgave them. And now they are all in front of the promised land. Moses here is reminding them of all the things that God has done for them. Apart from that, Moses then reminds them of all the past histories. He reminds them of Noah and the rainbow. He reminds them of the flood. He reminds them of all the past histories. And he just wants the people to remember and not forget the goodness of God. Not to forget how God has been guiding them and protecting them throughout their journey of their life. Remembering the goodness of God is one of the key things that we need in our life. It helps us to push forwards in difficult times. There is nothing to fear for the future except that we forget the goodness of God. If we know that God has been guiding us, whom shall we fear? The contrast of Moses and the children of Israel is so great. In front of the Red Sea, surrounded by mountains and surrounded by Egyptian armies from behind, the Israelites, they were panicking. They were thinking, hey Moses, did you bring us out here to die? We can't go in front because there's a sea. We can't go to the side because there are mountains. We can't go back because the Egyptian armies, they're going to kill us. But Moses remembers the goodness of God. He remembers of how God has taken care of him when he was a child. When he murdered a fellow Egyptian. When he was wandering for 40 years in the desert, taking care of the sheep, when God was teaching him how to be a leader. And he remembers the 10th plague of Egypt that was sent. Moses remembering all of this, and he says, the Lord shall fight for you and ye shall hold your peace. Although the Red Sea is in front of me, although the armies are chasing behind me, although there are mountains at the side and there's no way for me to run to, but because God has brought me until this far, there is nothing for me to fear. Only if I forget how good God is. There is a story once I heard from one of my respected elders in my church. He once gave this story and I would like to share this again. There is a young boy, let's give him a name. His name is Peter. Now Peter loves to go for visitation, to see his grandparents far away. To get to where he stays, to his grandparents' house, he would have to travel in the train. And yes, he does like to see his grandparents, but what makes him more excited is the train journey. He likes to get up on the chair and he likes to look around. He likes to see the trees moving past fast. He likes to go in through the tunnel and get out from the tunnel. He enjoys the train ride. And Peter is always excited. He is always asking his parents. As a young child, each and every year he would ask his parents, hey, daddy, mommy, when can I take the train ride alone to see grandpa and grandma? When is the time? Each and every year the parent says, no, not this year, not this year. You may take the ride when you are growing up, when you are older. One day came when Peter is finally of age. Peter then says, mommy, this year can I go? The mom looked at him, looked at his father and says, yes, this year you may go alone to visit your grandparent. Peter was excited, packing his bags at night and now ready to go on his train ride to see his grandparents. At the train station, Peter's father handed him a paper and he tells his son, listen, whenever you are afraid, open this paper and you will not be afraid. The son was also excited. He says, fine, thank you, daddy. Okay, he put it inside his front pocket and he says, goodbye, daddy, goodbye, mommy. He gets on the train and he starts finding his place. Okay, here is my seat, and he sat down, placed his back at the side, and soon the train starts to move. At first, everything was fine. He was enjoying the ride. He says, finally, I'm alone. Each and every year when I try to sit up, Daddy and Mommy would say, hey, it's dangerous, get down. So many rules, so many restrictions. Now I'm finally alone. There's no Mommy and no Daddy to tell me to get down. I can stand up on my chair, I get to see around, and I can enjoy my train ride. So the train went on by and Peter enjoyed himself. But soon he approached the tunnel. On the ride, usually with his parents, whenever he's scared, because the tunnel is dark, so whenever he's scared, Peter would grab onto his parents and says, Mom and Dad, hold me tight. And he will find comfort. But now Peter was alone. He looks around, there's no Mommy, there's no Daddy. He looks around and it is dark. And Peter started screaming inside the train. He screamed and when the train comes out and he sees the light, he's not excited, but he's even more afraid. Because of his screaming, now all the passengers around him is looking at Peter and he's wondering to himself, oh no, where is Daddy and where is Mommy? In that moment, he remembered what his father said. Peter, whenever you are afraid, take out the paper. Peter rushed and took out his paper. Gently opened the paper to ensure that it does not tear off. He opened and he reads, Dear son, do not be afraid. Look behind you. I'm sitting right behind you. Peter looked back. And lo and behold, he saw his father smiling at him. Going through life, we do not have to be afraid. We have our loving Father that is watching us on our back. We can scream because we feel like we are alone. We can scream because we thought strangers are looking at us. But we do not have to scream anymore whenever we turn back and look, because our Father is smiling at us with gentleness, with loving eyes, and says, don't worry, son, I'm here with you on the ride of this journey. You're not alone. May we remember the goodness of God, of how much blessing He has brought to our life. And may this inspire us to continue on to follow each and every step that He will lead in the journey of life. Thank you for listening.